Hello, I've had a question about macros, a little bit about which macros, using a scale, source of macros for food. So I'm going to do a little video about it. When I first went from carnivore to keto, I was watching Kim Howerton and listening to her. I watched all her videos, and every word that came out of her mouth, I was like a sponge. And I know she counted calories. Another person that I watched was Allie McWowie. She also counted calories. And to be quite honest, the original keto in like when 2017, 15, that time frame, that was calorie focused as well. But anyway, so in, I don't remember what year I started, but I went back from carnivore to keto. And so as far as macros, I knew just the rule of thumb for all keto is 20 or less carbs. Some people say net, some people say total. It's kind of a personal preference. For quite a while, I was doing net because I don't eat all the things that add in fiber to lower the carb count. Like, I don't eat the breads, I don't eat the snacks, I don't eat the treats. Nothing's wrong with them. I just don't eat them because it triggers me. So I did not, when I did net carbs, it was because I was eating vegetables. And I don't feel personally that vegetables is what caused my obesity or my insulin resistance. That's not what caused all my problems in the first place. So when I counted net carbs, I used an app called Chronometer. And that app, I did use MyFitnessPal for a while, but then when I found out Chronometer, you can have it switch to where it does net carbs, but you can choose which kind of fiber is included and which one's not. So like I said, I do want sugar alcohols to count against me and to throw me into a higher net carb or, make my carbs higher. I do want like keto breads and keto treats, those kinds of things to make my carbs higher. So I was fine with that. All I was really focused on was vegetables. So as far as the macros goes, so calories, the main four macros that people talk about is calories, protein, carbs, and fat. I'll just start with calories. That's a personal thing. If you are tracking everything you're eating and you're eating 1,800 calories and you're gaining, then you need to evaluate what it is you're eating. Are you hungry? Do you need to add a little less fat and maybe go a little on the leaner side? I know as I was losing, when I was in weight loss phase, right or wrong, I don't care what people say, I ate 93% ground beef. So I was doing a more lower to moderate fat during my weight loss phase. And people can say that's terrible, but I don't really care. It worked. So if you're somebody who, is counting your calories, but you're eating a lot of the higher fat meats, maybe try some leaner meats, maybe try some lean ground beef and see if that has an effect on you. I say that because I needed to see bulk. So calories. So I would go along and I just picked 1,800 when I started. I picked 1,800 calories when I started, and that's what I started with. There's no real rhyme or reason other than I knew I was probably eating around 2,200 when I was stalled on carnivore. So I jumped to 1,800. And so for calories, if my weight stalled 4 to 6 weeks, I lowered them by about 200. That's how I did my calories. You can't just say, hey, Terry, what calories should I have? I don't know. Pick a number. See what happens. It's really about you and your body. So that's calories. Protein. I'm not a science person. So don't go by what I say and count it as gospel. What I have heard over the years is that you should have 0.9 to 1 gram of protein per your ideal body weight. That's not your dream weight. My dream weight was 168. That's not what I should have. I should have had 168 grams of protein every day. My ideal body weight is somewhere around 130, 140. Is that possible for me to get to? Yeah, if I starve myself. Do I want to get there? No, but it doesn't matter. So I eat anywhere between 130 and 150 grams of protein a day. That's it. So it's not a set number. I mean, there's fluctuation. Some days you're going to have 130. Some days you might even have 160. Some days you might even have 100. It's going to vary. The higher fatty meat that you eat, the lower your protein, just so you know. Because the fat takes up a lot of calories. So the leaner meat, whether it's chicken, whether it's pork, whether it's lean beef, those are going to have more protein in them, just as a side note. So that's protein. That's how you get that. You figure out what your ideal body weight is, not your dream weight, not your goal weight, but your ideal weight for you, your height, your bone structure. You got to figure all that out. And if you can't figure it out, go to the BMI scale and see, okay, well, my ideal body weight should be between 130 and 149. Well, there you go. I mean, that's a guesstimate. There's no real super science to this. I mean, in my opinion, you look up the science, you Google it. So that's calories, protein, then comes carbs. Like I said, the rule of thumb for keto is 20 carbs or less. If you're dirty keto, people just count carbs and don't count calories. There's all different nicknames for all the different things, but keto, 20 carbs of less, whether it's net or total, it's a you decision. Sometimes I was net, sometimes I was total, just kind of varied. The other macro that we look at is fat. The old keto calculators, when I first started, they gave you your calories, your protein, your carb, your fat. I guess that's it, those 4 things. It gave you those 4 things for your body type. And that's what you went by. That was the olden days whenever people used an actual keto calculator. And so some people treated fat as a goal because, well, it's a high-fat diet. Yeah, but if you want to lose weight, in my opinion, if I want to lose fat, I want my body to burn fat, so I go in ketosis. If I want my body to burn the fat that's on my body and not what I'm eating, then my opinion is I don't need to eat a ton of extra fat. So that's why I didn't add the butters. I stopped using the butters. I stopped using all the extra fatty things. Yeah, I cook in tallow, but I don't like deep fry in tallow. So I quit using all the extra fat. I don't look at fat as a goal. I don't look at it as a number that I should strive to reach. For me, fat is do not go any higher than that. But I don't even look at fat because when I was losing, I was eating lean meat. So there is fat in lean meat. And there's also fat in the cottage cheese. And there's some fat in the yogurt. So there was fat in my food, just not 150 grams worth of fat. So if you go back to I got a playlist of when I was keto and losing weight, and just open up a few of my videos and scroll to the very end, and that will tell you what my macros were during my weight loss phase. They varied, but like I said, in my opinion, fat is not a goal. I wanted to not add extra fat to my diet because I wanted my body to burn the fat that was here and around my middle and around here. That was my thought process. Scale. Because I use chronometer, I weigh all my food. And when I was in weight loss, now I weigh my meats. You see, I do it every weekend. And I go by whatever chronometer says something is. You know, if there's a label on something, I'll scan it. If there's not a label on something, I look it up. Onions, I just type in onion, and whatever it says is what it is. I don't get too worked up because 20 grams of onions on one app might be 30 calories, and 20 grams of onions on another app might be 40 calories. I personally don't get that worked up about it. I just stuck with one app, and that's what I went with. Onions, peppers, cucumbers, whatever. I just plug in whatever the app says it is, and I just don't lose any sleep over it. That's just me. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but that's just how I did it. So maybe you could say I was dirty keto. I don't know. But you saw me. I weighed everything. If it was going in my mouth, I weighed it. It didn't matter if I weighed my apples. I weighed my salad. I weighed every vegetable. I weighed every meat. I weighed every sauce. I weighed everything that goes in my mouth. The scale for me, scale and chronometer were extremely, extremely important in my weight loss journey. Then the other thing is, I talked about that. Which macros? Like I said, those were the calories, protein, carbs, and fat. Those are the 4 macros that I personally looked at over the years. When I first started, I could not have counted all that stuff. I tried, but it was so overwhelming, way overwhelming. So that is why I personally ended up doing carnivore for those 22 months, because I didn't have to think, and I could just get the weight off and heal my body and learn my body. So I was not ready in those first 2 years of doing weight loss to even think about tracking anything. I'm not going to lie. So if you're not somebody who's wanting to track or willing to track, you can do the old standby keto, counting your total carbs for the day, look at everything you put in and count your carbs that way. Or you can go carnivore and just eat the meat and be satisfied. And then, after, a while, and you detox your brain and you're ready to think more about it, then you can. But that's how I did it. I didn't start counting and stuff in the beginning. I went to a diet doctor and let them do everything for me. I looked at the recipes. I looked at their foods, and I let them do the shopping, and I'd let them do everything. Not the shopping, but they made my shopping list. I let that site do everything. Not everybody needs to do that though. I did because I didn't want to think. And it worked for me for those 2 months. And then, like I said, then I was all excited because then I could just do all my meal prep on the weekends and eat my meat during the week and not do anything. No cooking whatsoever. So during the week. But anyway, so that's me. That's my opinion about macros. That's how I did the macros. And those are the 4 macros that I paid attention to. So there you go.